So it's a pleasure being here once again, brethren, and good evening to everyone. Good night, good morning, wherever you are. You know, it will be a different time. So today I'll be on proof number 7. I know last week I touched on proof number 6, which spoke on the righteousness of the law and the righteousness of faith can never be the same, since they are the products of two different callings, one being an earthly, and I gave Genesis chapter 12, verse 7, Genesis chapter 15, verses 18 to 20, and Psalm 105, verses 9 to 11, and the other being an heavenly, and I gave Hebrews chapter 3, verses 1 to 6. Now, today's topic is going to be the righteousness of the law and the righteousness of faith can never be similar, since each righteousness is a product of two different houses or priesthoods. And the reference will be Hebrews chapter 3, verses 1 to 3, Hebrews chapter 5, verse 10, Hebrews chapter 6, verse 20, Hebrews chapter 7, verse 5, and then you go to verses 11 to 12. Now, brethren, all scriptures will be read from the King James Version Bible only. And today's segment is pretty short, right? And I do hope that persons are following and understanding the connection and the linkage with each. So that's why I'm taking my time and I'm actually sharing it by identifying each as proofs. So we are on tonight by proof number 7, right? The book of Hebrews was specifically written to highlight the difference between the old or first covenant called the law and the new and better covenant called the gospel of the grace of God. The following verses surely highlights this difference. And I'm reading Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 to 7, which states, "But now had he obtains a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second." So that's Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 to 7. And again, Hebrews chapter 8, verse 13 says, "In that he saith, a new covenant. He had made the first, meaning covenant, old. Now that, meaning old covenant, which decayeth and waxeth old, is ready to vanish away." So that's Hebrews chapter 8, verse 13. Moreover, we have this divine declaration of God, which highlights God's own viewpoint on this issue. These following verses refer to Hebrews chapter 10, verse 5 and verses 8 to 9, which states, "Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, Sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. Above where he said, Sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offering for sin thou wouldest not, which are all offered by the law. Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O God. He taketh away the first, meaning covenant, that he may establish the second." So that was Hebrew chapter 10, verse 5, and then I went on to verse 8 to 9. Now, from those verses that I just read, brethren, therefore, one can be absolutely sure concerning God's point of view on this law or grace issue, for the difference is clearly highlighted in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 9, as stated prior. Notwithstanding the clarity of those quoted verses, there are those who have concocted certain interpretations to ensure the survival of their respective denominations. However, in an effort to assist those who are confused by the errant doctrinal traditions of men and women who have erred from the doctrines of the apostles, especially those established by the apostle Paul, the following additional foolproof facts are herein advanced. From Hebrews chapter 3, verses 1 to 6, it is abundantly clear that Christ and Moses are therein highlighted as respective heads over two different houses, one heavenly and the other earthly. Moreover, from this Hebrew chapter 3, verses 1 to 6 text, also, one can be absolutely sure that Christianity differs from Judaism intrinsically and was never intended to be an extension of same. For whereas Moses was the God ordained head over the Jewish or Old Testament church in the wilderness, Christ is the God appointed head over the New Testament church. And one can read Hebrews chapter 3, verses 1 to 6, Ephesians chapter 1, verse 22, Colossians chapter 1, verse 18. Now, in addition to the fact that Hebrews chapter 3, verses 1 to 6 is emphatic in its highlighting of the difference between Christ's church and that over which Moses superintended, we also know from the book of Hebrews that both houses are headed up by persons who belong to two different priesthoods. For whereas Christ is a priest after the order of Melchizedek, as Hebrews chapter 5, verse 6 and 10 states, we know for a fact that Moses was a God ordained priest after the order of Levi, which in Exodus chapter 2, verses 1 to 10 states, underscoring verses 1 and 10, particularly, and Hebrews chapter 7, verse 5. So, as I come to an end, brethren and online listeners, not only is the difference in houses and priesthoods highlighted from the Hebrew text, what is ever more significant is the fact that whereas one of the houses under review is an earthly entity, that is, the one which was headed up by Moses, the other over which Christ is head, has held out to his followers and heavily calling, as Hebrews chapter 3, verse 1 states. Now, since the children of Israel are members of the body of Christ, are children of two different houses or callings, controlled by two different priesthoods, the Levitical and Melchizedek respectively, we know beyond the shadow of a doubt that the righteousness of the law, which is self-righteousness, as Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25 states, and Philippians chapter 3, verse 9a states, and the righteousness of faith, which is by the faith of Jesus and is a derivative of God's nature, can never be similar, being derivatives of two different priesthoods. This fact is so clearly stated in the Christian Bible that no amount of denominational, doctrinal jangling would be able to disprove that stated doctrinal fact that was just mentioned tonight. Never. So, as I come to an end tonight of this short segment, I will be live next week again, brethren, and that was proof number 7 that I just shared. So, brethren, do take time and read your holy Bibles. Remember, the word is needed to strengthen us, to encourage us, and for us to also have faith, hoping upon the promises of God. So, brethren, Jesus Christ will be returning, and he will be returning soon. And I have been stating for you to please prepare yourselves for his return. Jesus Christ is our protector, he's our shield, he's our rock, he's our high tower. And no man goeth unto the Father but through Jesus Christ. So, brethren, have a safe and productive week. Remember that Jesus Christ loves you and I love you. So, bye for now.